Here we will be factorizing by taking out the common bracket. But before you can take out a common bracket, you need to know that we have two terms. The first term is the 2 into x minus 1 plus in between, and the second term will be y into x minus 1. You need to identify a common bracket, okay? You'll realize that the first bracket, which is x minus 1, is multiplied by 2. And the second bracket, which is x minus 1, is multiplied by y. And as a result, that becomes our common bracket. We have a common bracket in the first term, which is the same as a bracket in the second term. And that bracket will simply be x minus 1. Okay, now here it is here. Please note that we have two brackets here, okay, which is x minus 1, which is multiplied by 2, and x minus 1, which is multiplied by y. In between, we have plus. We have a plus sign. So identify a common bracket and highlight it. The common bracket here will be x minus 1. So what we are going to do is to take it out as a common vector. So we're going to take it out as a common bracket. What are we going to be left with in the first term? In the first term, we'll be left with 2, and in the second term, we'll be left with y, which will make up the second bracket. So the first bracket will be x minus 1, and the second bracket will be 2 plus y. Okay. And obviously that can be written as x minus 1 and y plus 2. All I did was just to swap them around. You'll realize that the black bracket, I had 2 plus y, which can be written as y plus 2. I've changed absolutely nothing. Try this class work quickly. I will simply give you 5 minutes. All right, let's just check the solutions to this. And this is just to check if you understood what we did in the example. Now, here we have how many terms? We've got two terms. The first term will be x into x minus 3. And we have the other one will be that 2 into x minus 3. All right. So we've got two terms because terms can only be separated by plus or minus. So the only minus we have there is that minus which is between 2 and the bracket. And obviously it is the bracket x minus 3. So we have in the first term x into x minus 3 as the first term. And that term is separated by minus. And the second term obviously will be that 2 into x minus 3. Identify a common bracket. A common bracket here will be x minus 3. Now take it out as a common factor. When you take it out as a common factor, inside the bracket, you'll be left with x minus 2. Let us look at this. We have two terms. The first term will be a, open brackets, a plus 2, close bracket. And the second term will be 2, open brackets, 2 plus a, close bracket. At this moment in time, just for you to make sure that you've got a common bracket, you just have to take the bracket in the second term, which is into 2 plus a, and just write it as a plus 2, because it doesn't matter what you start with. If I have 2 plus 3, that will give me 5. Whether I start with 3 plus 2, it still gives me 5. So it doesn't matter. The arrangement of your sums do not matter. So all I'm going to do is just to change that 2 plus a and write it as a plus 2 in the second term. Now I have exactly identical bracket, and I will simply identify them and simply take that common bracket out as a common factor. Inside the bracket, I'll be left with a minus 2, and that will be it. I'll factorize. Factorize simply says find two vectors. The first vector here will be a plus 2. The second vector will be a minus 2. All right, let's get to number 3. Here in number 3, it was obvious to identify a common bracket, but there is another common factor here, which is a variable. Note that in the first term, we've got t squared. In the second term, we've got t to the exponent of 3. To make life easy here, I'm just going to split that t to the exponent of 3 and write it as t squared times t, so that you can easily identify a common variable, which is simply t squared. I said to you, if whenever you have to work with common variables and you have to take out a common variable as a common factor, it has to be an identical variable first of all, and you only take the variable with the lowest exponent out as a common factor. And in this case, between t squared and t cubed, the variable with the lowest exponent will be that t squared. Okay, and you'll realize that that exponent 2 is common between t squared and that t cubed, because in that 3 there is a 2 in it. Okay, and that's how I split it, just to show you that in that 3 there's a 2 in it. I haven't changed anything because t squared times t will still give me t cubed. Okay, once you have identified those common factors, you realize that the whole of the first term is a common factor. So when we take that whole term out as a common factor, in its place, we will be left with 1. So inside the bracket, we will have 1 minus that t that we still have in the second term. Because everything else we will have taken out as a common factor. Okay. When I do this example here, I want you guys to try it out. I will simply leave a classwork for you to do. Okay. Let us look at this one here. It's easy for us to identify a common bracket. But now, what happens when a common bracket, one of the common brackets has an exponent, which is 2 in this case? You'll realize that the first bracket is x minus 3, but it is squared. The second bracket is just x minus 3. Here you only take out a bracket with the lowest exponent as a common factor. In this case, the bracket with the lowest exponent will be the bracket that is in the second term, which is at x minus 3. If I take it out, in the first term, I will be left with only x minus 3 to the exponent of 1. Okay, if I was to multiply this back into the bracket, I will still get x minus 3 squared, because when you multiply same brackets, you just add the exponents. And if I was to multiply that x minus 3 with negative 2, I will still get negative 2 times x minus 3. That will take me back to the original equation. Inside that bigger bracket, okay, I had to put in a bigger bracket because in the first time I'm left with 1x minus 3, which is a full bracket. If I just get rid of that bracket inside the bigger bracket, I will have x minus 3 minus 2. And minus 3 and minus 2 will give me minus 5. Fully factorized, this will be x minus 3 multiplied by x minus 5. Okay. Now, with that in mind, please attempt to do this classwork. Okay. Check out the next video for corrections to this classwork. Hold on for today.